One thing that people always ask for when a patch drops for a game that they play is, okay, these are the patch notes, but what else was changed? What wasn't listed in the patch notes? I want to know those changes. And here in this video, I got a big list of stuff that we're going to cover, and it should really help a lot of you demon players out there who feel like you're struggling a little bit with the changes that they made to the possession side of things. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. You're going to want to know it. And then speaking of things you're going to want to know, let me tell you about today's sponsor, HelloFresh. One thing that's really nice for me as a content creator when I do sponsored bits like this is when I get to talk about a product I was already using. HelloFresh has been really good for us. It's allowed us to go ahead and actually save a lot of money because we're not eating out anywhere near as much. HelloFresh can actually save you up to 72% on your eating out bill if you happen to order out a lot. And then beyond that, something that's really nice is it gives us a lot more creativity in our meals. They have over 55 weekly options for you to pick from, and these options accommodate a wide variety of dietary styles. So let's say you're pescatarian, or you want to go for a veggie meal, or you have some other limitation. HelloFresh gives you a lot of different options, and you can swap things in and out at your leisure. One of the things we actually just had was their Taste of Summer series. We did the Old Bay shrimp and sausage boil, and it was honestly one of the best things I've ever had from them. We actually ate it on stream. It was very tasty. And honestly, one of the things that means the most to me with HelloFresh is all the food is prepackaged, you know exactly what you need, and then they give you this really nice recipe sheet that goes step by step on how to cook all the food and what to do with it. So if you'd like to get started with HelloFresh, you can use my link in the description down below, or you can go to HelloFresh.com and use the code POGPOINTJuly16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes, and they also give you 3 free gifts. So once you click, the link in my description will update live with the amount of purchases, which is actually pretty cool. And then some of the gifts might include things like free appetizers, free desserts, and some premium recipes. So links in the description, go ahead and check it out. And then with that, let's go ahead and continue with our Evil Dead update. So Puppeteer here actually has a ton of unlisted changes, so we can go ahead and crack through a bunch of them all at once. So one of the things to know about the Puppeteer is that their power possession was changed drastically. We talked about this in the other patch video that we did, but to recover it, power possession used to work where as soon as you power possess something, your countdown for your cooldown would start immediately. And then if you were in the possession for like 30 seconds, well, then your cooldown would be whatever the cooldown is minus 30 seconds, right? Well, now you get the full cooldown no matter what. So it's 90 seconds no matter what as soon as you leave your possession. That's a really big deal for Puppeteer players. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that the Puppeteer is completely gutted because of the way possession works now. So if you take a look here, it says possess 60. Something to know specifically about the Puppeteer is how they handle possession. They can reach possession level 3 by level 8. Okay? Whereas the Warlord and the Necromancer cannot reach possession level 3 until level 10, or threat level 10, okay? So that's a big change that they didn't really go over in the patch notes, that specific nature of how level 8 is the one you're shooting for if you play Puppeteer. And then once you reach that, you get your 15 cost basic units, and you can just go charging at people. And by the way, this dance slam thing, it still works like it did before. So if you get melee rushed, you can just go ahead and throw your head on the ground and do a ton of AoE damage to the melee people around you. Another thing to know about the Puppeteer, though, is the basic units got a huge buff this patch, and it wasn't listed anywhere. So whenever you possess a basic unit and your balance bar gets smashed all the way through, for some reason, basic Puppeteer units recover really, really fast, and it allows you to get some really sneaky heavy hits in on with the Puppeteer. So the combo that I've been using lately, I know we talked about light, 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 heavy. Another really good combo for the Puppeteer right now is heavy, and then light. And if we take a peek here, I mean, I could do heavy, heavy, light for a while here. So here's one heavy, and then there's 2 heavy, and then here's your light, and then heavy, and then heavy, and then light. And I don't know how many times in a row you could do this. I guess we'll just test it right now, huh? Yeah, it just keeps going. So that's 3 combos right there. Yeah, so unless I mess something up there, it looks like you can go up to like 8 or 9 hits there. So that's a huge combo. And the reason why that's nice is because if a hunter's trying to run away from you and they just keep backpedaling, they're eventually going to run out of stam, and then you're just going to have free food, right? So really long combos can be really nice on some of these demons here. And wait till we get to the Necromancer one, because there's a sick combo on him. So what this means for your gameplay is I would spec into basic units. I would move away a little bit from elite units because they're okay, but then you can spec real hard into basic units because they got this crazy balance bar buff where they just recover so fast. And then if you need more tips on Eligos himself, I think I have a whole video about Eligos the Puppeteer. Things have changed a little bit because those last patch, but a lot of the tips were like the rocks can do a ton of damage in close range, and then trying to utilize his invincibility. All that's still valid on Eligos here. So go check that out if you want a little bit more Puppeteer help. Another really big unlisted change for the demon is being slowed down when you are inside of a house like this in the tutorial. You get really slowed down. And now this is throughout the whole game. It's not just the tutorial phase here anymore. And this happens if you're inside of a building. It also happens if you're like next to a shack. Like there's been a few times where, yeah, you see it like that. Like you could be next to the building too. So keep that in mind. If you're chasing people down, you're going to have this slowing effect. And a lot of people are having a problem right now where, let's say they possess a unit while they're inside and something goes wrong when they get kicked out or something. And then they're stuck in this slow mode for the rest of the game, even if they're outside. So keep in mind that that is something that's going on right now, and it was, again, one of those unlisted changes. I don't know if it's intentional, but it's going on right now. Another unlisted change is that Warlord really, really sucks now. Let me tell you why Warlord really, really sucks. So something that people were doing beforehand, I mean, okay, to be clear, something people were doing beforehand was they would use their puke as a basic unit and then dodge out of it by using the dodge button, and that would allow them to get some free hits in. And this was a really strong tactic for the Warlord. Another thing that people were doing was they were doing a fear loop, which is you go and you put hemophobia in your skill tree, and then you use elite units via traps level 3, and then you just have the survivors beat the crap out of your elite units, and that puts their fear up, and then you can start possessing them and just keep running them into more traps that you have set up, so you create a loop, right? Like they get feared, then you go ahead and possess them, run them into another trap, it makes their fear go up, possess them, run them into another trap, possess them, run into another trap, and you'd get this loop that would help you power level, and that would make it so you're really strong at the end of the game. But now she really sucks. One, I mean, frankly, the whole puke canceling thing, without that, her basic units feel terrible because she is so telegraphed. Like, how do I illustrate this? Like, part of what she could do before is she could just like, bam, bam, right? But now she has to run at you long after you've already recovered from the puke cancel, and she's like, like, you can see that coming, man. Just dodge out of it. All of her attacks are super telegraphed, and she's terrible for it. Another thing that really sucks about Henrietta is her elite units are bugging out. I don't know what's going on, but I had like 3 or 4 games in a row on the first day of the patch where I would use a heavy attack, and then I'd try to use one of my skills, and then I would just bug out, and I couldn't move at all. And that keeps happening over and over again. So not only did she lose her strongest tactic, which was being able to dodge out of puke, now her elite units don't even work properly. And she can't do like the punch fart thing like she could before. She can fart punch, but she can't punch fart. So Henrietta and the Warlord, they suck so hard right now, I wouldn't touch them. If you like them still, good for you. But for me, I'm not touching Henrietta until they do something with her, because you just got way better options with the Puppeteer and Necromancer. So we gave you a little bit of information on how to make the Puppeteer more effective. And now let's move on to the Necromancer, because in my mind, the way the Necromancer's playing right now makes them the best demon in the game by several miles. So one thing that is making the Necromancer really, really strong right now is they tweak something with light attacks. And this is across the board. I'll show you what it looks like on Survivor too. But every single freaking unit seems to have a really crazy light attack sequence now. And not only that, the Necromancer here has a really long chain. So all you got to do really is just go light and then heavy, and then light and then light and then heavy. And you can do this chain for a really long time, and it is really hard to deal with if you are playing Survivor. I think I can go through this like 3 or 4 times, right? Yeah, so that was about 3 times. And then if you wanted to, you could go ahead and Warcry through that too. So I can go ahead and show you this. Like, I'll go through the whole thing again. So I just go light, light, heavy. And I think I could do it like 3 times. And then after that, you can just go ahead and Warcry. And then you just keep the chain going. And this could be really overwhelming for a Survivor that doesn't know how to dodge properly, like going into the lunges rather than always backing away from the lunges. Yeah, look at that. You start all over again. So this is a really strong thing, because that range of that lunge is really far, and that makes it so that you can just catch up with survivors. And you can turn pretty well here too if somebody is trying to get through you. That lunge is really nice. Another really good trick that the Necromancer has right now has to do with elite units. So if you go ahead and you take a look here, I'll possess an elite unit. And I believe Sahinki is the one that taught me this one, where if you go ahead and use your Trident Smash here, take a look. And then it would take a little bit before, right? But now the elite units have this really crazy combo, which, I mean, it's not a crazy combo. It's really easy to do, but it's a really crazy sequence because of how fast it goes. So let me make another elite unit here. So what you can do now is just absolutely smash people. You'd be like Q and then make one of these possess and then just tap 1/1 and then like that you get a giant AoE, which you can expand by the way with your skill tree. You get a giant AoE that does like 400 something damage, 450 damage. You can absolutely melt with that. And then you follow up with a big heavy and you just cleave through all the survivors. There will be matches if you play like that where you just take the whole team feeling like they're doing well and then you take them out within like 2 seconds and they don't know what hit them. It is extremely powerful right now. So keep that in mind. You have your combo with the light units and then you have that really strong attack with the trident smash on the elite. And we're not done yet. We do have a little bit of a trick here with Evil Ash. So I think I'm going to talk about this in the patch notes, but if you go ahead and you take a look at Evil Ash here, he has a combo, right? He goes 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then he's stuck. And what people used to do is they would dodge and that would allow him to keep up this combo. Well, you can't do it anymore. You see how he just chunked up there and I couldn't keep moving? Well, you can make it keep working if you utilize your resurrection. So you go 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then resurrect and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. And then that's the full combo there. And you can go ahead and do this and have that come out, but you don't really get a fast combo after that, right? So you can get about a good, strong 8 hits immediately when you start to do that. And frankly, I think it's fine because look at that 70-second cooldown that kicks in. Like, I think if you have a problem with him doing that chain, I don't know, it comes at a pretty steep cost. So 3 tactics for the Necromancer. One thing to know, again, another unlisted change is once you leave Evil Ash, his resurrection circle no longer keeps reviving units. His revival dies with him. Where beforehand, the revival circle would stick around for a while after Evil Ash was gone, and that would allow you to possess a really strong unit. They made it so you can't do that anymore. So that's really important to know if you're sitting there trying to use a comeback stronger strategy at the book. Doesn't work anymore. The only way you're really going to get that done is if you leave Evil Ash and try to possess one of the skeletons he left behind. But even then, that can be a little hard to do because survivors clean those up pretty quickly. So comeback stronger got a big nerf with this patch. Another big unlisted change, which is Sash. Nothing about him got listed, honestly. It's really weird. So we talked about this a little bit in the patch notes, but there's something else going on with him that's a little bit more nuanced. So alternative healing here goes a 20% of your damage now rather than just a flat 20 or 25, whatever it was. That's really important to know, and I think it might even go through the filter of a support unit because, in case you don't already know this, let's say a weapon does 100 damage. Well, support units, they only do 80% of whatever the weapon's listed value is. So in the case of support, if the weapon does 100 damage, support only does 80 damage. So this makes it so his weapon selection is a bit wider, but it also kind of messes with his hunting knife thing in general too. They also made it so that he has damage that is buffed up over 5 seconds whenever he hits a headshot, which is pretty cool. And then they also reduced his healing when you go ahead and hit a headshot. But there's something really important to know that they changed with Sash here. And here, let me go ahead and show you what it looks like in a match here. So let me show you here. Let's say I'm doing a finisher. Something that Sash could do before is if a teammate was performing a finisher, Sash could come in on the side and start hitting heavies on the unit that was being finished, and that would continue to heal the team. That doesn't work anymore. It kind of seemed like a bug anyway, but that doesn't work anymore. So if you think you're going to be clever and just sit here and keep heavy attacking something as it's dying, you lost that. But now, in terms of unlisted changes here, another one is light attacks. Light attacks are really weird right now, and they're really fast. You could see it with the Necromancer, but it's also happening on Survivor's side too. Like these 3, look at that. That is so much faster. I don't know what is going on, but they absolutely buff the speed of the 3 speed weapons. And there might have even been a knife down here that I kind of want to check out. That was the improvised spear, huh? But either way, like much faster than it was before. So you might actually consider using a 3-speed weapon. Oh, we have a hunting knife. Yeah, I'm curious. How fast is a hunting knife now? Yeah, look at that. It's crazy. So it might not just be your really big heavy hitters anymore. And by the way, I don't even have melee boofed up at all. You can actually go faster melee attack speed. So you can get pretty sick speed if you are using a warrior that's fully maxed out on their melee. Now, there may be a ton more changes in the game that I don't know about. So if you have any other unlisted changes that you know about, put them in the comments down below. I think I got through my whole list here, but I'm sure there's more stuff that people are going to keep discovering day by day. And let's educate the community. Let's let people know what's going on. Really what I wanted to do with this video was teach some people some things in case they're really having trouble with Demon, because I know morale's a little low for a lot of Demon players, and I wanted to teach you some tricks that came up pretty quickly out of the community to combat that. So again, your light heavies, your trident smash, your quick recovery on the puppeteer, don't play Henrietta, stuff like that. So hope it helped. We stream just about every single night, twitch.tv/SwingPoint, but I think I'm going to start pulling back on streams a little bit. I got like a full-time gig I'm going to be doing here starting in August. So streams as they show up. And then also, if you want to see more YouTube videos, if you want to see more tips and guides, please subscribe down below. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video that we do around here.